Good evening and welcome today again. And this is Farm Drive. And my name is Dottie Nekinyi, your host.
And I am Stephanie Sharon Okayo. Today we also bring you another hot topic on Farm Drive.
Yeah. Thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget to check our social media handles. That is Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And we are live on Twitter and on Facebook and YouTube. And even as we continue, today our topic is going to be food security. Yes. And as you know, today is Saba Saba. 7th July 2023, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Saba Saba Day.
Yeah, sure.
And there's also something going on. Is it the Saba Saba? Yeah, the
Yeah,
demonstrations that are
the
going on.
demonstrations, and today is also Saba Saba.
Yeah,
And this Saba Saba was also brought in by Raila,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, right?
yeah,
So they are like conjoined and they're going on today.
yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on actually. Yeah, from the traffic updates, it seems like there's no so much traffic at all.
There's none. There's no traffic now. Otherwise, you can everyone can tell us what's happening where they are. Yeah, because we are seeing there's chaos somewhere in Kisumu and some parts of Nairobi.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, you may put it in the comment section. Tell us where you are if you've gone to work, as we are at work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much for joining us live. And even as you continue, what do you think is going on? What's your take on Saba Saba? Is it something that is going to be beneficial to us, or in matters related to maybe food security? What do you think?
Okay, about Saba Saba, I think if we push the agenda of food security in the right direction, in the correct way, the demonstrations that are going on right now, we should consider that there are people who wanted to open their businesses today, but they aren't able to open it because they know that demonstrations can be said that they're going to be peaceful, but they're just those people who just want chaos during the
Definitely.
demonstration.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think some people are really taking advantage of this day because you find that instead of using the demonstration to at least lay down their challenges, what they have been going through, the current economy issues, the current rising and spiking of prices of you see food, transport and fuel and everything.
But how much did you use to come here today?
Let me tell you, it's very expensive.
And there are no vehicles at all.
Yeah, there are no vehicles. Even last night, where we used to go to with 50 shillings, I was checked around 80 bob.
Kwani even the Wakenya tumefika sahi, we fear that much when we just hear this demonstration and that one person is involved in it, because it's always that one person who makes like every business closes right now. Because I've spoken to my sister even right now, she has told me to go home early, so I'm wondering if I go home early, who will take us through this show? I can't leave because it's a passion. It's
True. We are here for you. And welcome again. And by the way, when we are trying to like look into today's matters, like whatever is going on in the country today, a lot of businesses are put on hold. Which is going to really lead into the economy to at least go down a little. I'm not sure about that, but I don't know,
because thousands and thousands of businesses have closed today, and you think about that person who works hand to mouth daily. What are they going to have on their table for supper?
I know. Even if we are looking at the positive side, let us not forget about the negative side. And Kenyans, I'm urging you and really requesting you guys to really look at the brighter side. And even if we are protesting, please let us look at the future. So coming back to food security, looking at today, we can see that a lot is going on. And I think this is just the best topic from yesterday's sale management. Here we are at the food security. And when we look at food security, we are not only looking at just the advantages of food security, but also the disadvantages. And food security comes with so much, from how we plant to how we can access food, to the reliability,
the transportation to the market,
to the market, and how we earn from it, and our health too. Remember? because we are consuming this, and by consuming this, it means it's going to affect us
Yeah.
health wise, right?
Yeah.
So I'm really happy today to talk about food security, because it is going to be really fun. So stay tuned, don't touch that dial, as I always tell you every single day. And Stephanie is here with us. Stephanie,
Yes.
tell us something, Stephanie.
Something. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't forget that this is a channel where we connect, learn, and grow.
True.
And today we're majorly talking about food security. Food insecurity will also be in the picture, because that is the major discussion that is going on right now. So what can we say about food security? What do you think food security is?
And again, and before I answer that, we all know that we are really looking at the climate smart agriculture. And we are going to look into food security related to climate smart agriculture. So even as we continue, food security, it's not only related to just food insecurity, whereby there's only less food available. We are also looking at health, our sanitation. We're looking at how we can access food, how easily we can look for food, and ways in which there can be stability of food.
So basically, food security, in my opinion, the Food and Agriculture Organization defines it as when all people have physical, social, and economic access to sufficient food. Sufficient food that promotes health, and we are all living. It's available, it's accessible.
In as much as maybe it's not supposed to be too much, but at least it's something that we can say it's there. We don't just sleep hungry, but at least we can get the food to eat, and before even eating it, we know that it's secure for our health, right? So viewers, we are looking forward to your questions, your concerns, your comments, and a lot your experience with maybe food security, because we have levels of food security where we even have the individual food security. We have the homestead, household. We have the regional or national, and when we look at individual, that is where we find maybe health status. And when we talk of health status, you see maybe for example, people living with HIV and AIDS.
What are they supposed to eat?
Exactly, the type of food that they are supposed to eat really matters a lot, because they can't just eat anything. They need to eat a balanced diet.
And can they access it? Is it readily available in the country or wherever they are?
Or is it even affordable? Because if we are talking about accessing it, we are also going to look at how is it going to be gotten.
Is it affordable? Can they afford that food in these economic times?
And one most influential thing that affects food security, I'd say, is poverty. Because if everybody is able to afford that food, and everybody is able to get that food in that has proper health, that has been tested and has been confirmed, that can be eaten, it can be really good.
Because I learned somewhere that currently the food situation in Kenya, 27% of the population in the arid and semi-arid lands, they suffer from acute food insecurity, majorly because of poverty, one, and drought. Because we find that rains have failed us for the past 4 seasons. It hasn't been raining adequately, and we majorly depend on the rain-fed agriculture. So without rain, we can't grow crops. And without the awareness that we can source for water or harvest water when it's raining, in turn, when drought comes, or these seasons that we haven't had rain, we will just fail in agriculture. That one, it also brings in poverty. Because we lack that awareness. So our viewer, we urge you to be aware that when it rains, you can just harvest that rain. You can harvest that water. Yeah.
Yeah, true. And this also leads us to us looking at how climatic conditions have really, really affected our food security, whereby you find that many people have been swept away by floods. It has caused a displacement of people. Like, for example, places like maybe Budalangi, where there's always a lot of floods. Yeah, you find that people are being displaced. Their lands and food, they cannot access food because it's not there.
Crops are being swept away by rain, by flood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really, really affecting our country. And there was this approximation that almost around around 149,000 people. I don't know if it's 149,000 or 500,000 people die yearly because of food insecurity.
Oh, so is it because of poverty or it's drought?
Not really. I think it's just generally.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
it's
statistics.
Exactly.
Yeah,
The statistics generally tells us that almost 500,000 people die yearly because of food security. And what causes food security? We can see that poverty, we have climatic change, and even when you look at the COVID-19, going back to COVID-19, how COVID-19 affected our country and globally, there was a lot of food insecurity. Yeah, because you remember we even had curfew. People didn't get a lot of time, or maybe and I think even in as much as we are talking of time, it also limited people from doing their jobs.
Yeah.
You find that maybe you are working from morning to maybe 11 p.m, but now you
You're
work
working
for up to 6 p.m. It doesn't
from
really
7 a.m. to 6
Exactly.
p.m.
Yeah, and I've never really I've never really understood how COVID-19 could attack Kenyans. I don't know, Africans or Kenyans.
Yeah,
So
okay, we
Kenya that
didn't
had
even
curfew.
expect it.
Exactly,
We thought
at
that
night.
it was for the Chinese.
Yeah.
For the Chinese people only, for the whites. Because, and actually, the high and mighty, the celebrities were the one being affected by COVID-19. So, for a common mwananchi to tell you that niko na COVID-19, you go like,
is this a joke?
Is this a joke?
It's
happening?
God for
because
your
I'm a
life.
common mwananchi, so I can get it.
Yeah, true. And oh my God, speaking of COVID-19, it was a real disaster. Yeah, we really had a lot of challenges. From my side, I think I saw a lot of challenges. I don't know from your side. And you know, from my place, I saw like where I used to like work that time. We could like work until maybe 9 p.m, but now we are being limited to up to maybe 6 p.m.
It affected people because salaries were deducted. Some people were laid off work.
Exactly. And some were fired, so it wasn't really good. Sometimes you're being told that you just have to stop from now, and we'll call you. And that is how
I remember the lockdown, the first lockdown. It found me in Nairobi. Remember, I didn't have any relative in Nairobi during that time. So I'm stranded. Will I become a street kid? And I'm also not supposed to be on these streets. I'm supposed to be inside the house. So I just want to know, how did it affect each of us, like negatively, from our audience?
Yes, we would really like to get your experience about COVID-19 and how you felt, the challenges you went through, and maybe something new you learned from maybe agriculture, if it gave you an idea, or maybe something that made you that stood out for you during that period, because I'm sure that every single person had their own experience, even from our young generation that are going to school. There are some people who didn't go. Actually, the whole country, a lot of people in different levels of education are behind with like 1 year, right?
Yeah, it's 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year.
Because we cancelled the whole of 2020 right now.
Exactly, 2020, the whole year, nobody went to school.
Yeah,
it was so sad, and
it also spiked trust issues.
Let me tell you, there's nothing that is so bad to the point whereby you're finishing, you're supposed to finish from 4. Yeah. Sorry guys, but COVID-19 is here. So you are like to finish in 2020, but here you are
In
Going
2021,
back
you're
to
still
school in
struggling.
2021.
You're still waking up at 3 a.m.
Or maybe graduating in 2020,
Mm.
but it's not going to happen.
But me, I
because-
managed to
But
graduate
virtually,
in
right?
Yeah, it was virtual.
Virtually. Let me tell you something. Me, I'm telling myself that I've been telling myself it doesn't make sense for me to graduate virtually when I've been paying fee to go to school.
Let me tell
even
you.
even my parents was like, why do I need to watch you virtually? When you went yourself, you didn't read virtually. So I expect I expect you to call me to come to the graduation because how sure am I that you went to school?
Yeah.
We have our typical parents.
Yeah.
They really believe in education where they want to see.
Even me, I'd really love if I went there and slayed my way into the
I know, right?
Because 4 years is not a joke.
It's not a joke.
Yeah,
let
4
me
years
tell
of
you.
just going rounds and rounds with lecturers is
Yeah.
not a joke.
It's
Yeah.
not a joke.
So I'd have loved it, but now the circumstances. And then we still paid
You still
for the
pay.
graduation, and
I
you are not
know.
on in the ground,
I tell you.
and you must just take the gown. So you must just pay for the gown, let it be transported. You also have to incur those expenses, that transportation.
I can imagine you sitting in front of your phone camera, or maybe your laptop, with that gown that you paid for.
Waiting for your name.
With your parents there. Anyway, that is our experience, and we would also like to know your experience from there. Did you make maybe money from the time we had COVID? Did you have something that changed your life from there, or what was that setback that you felt, or maybe something that showed sense, like made sense to you? Please let us know in the comment section. And even as we continue, we can see that COVID-19 really affected food security, and to the point that at some point you find that we could not really get enough food, because you find that you cannot move from this county to this county, because this county has so many people affected with COVID-19, and that there is also lockdown.
There's no
importation,
there's no exportation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if my memory is correct, because I think there was a time where counties were being locked down.
Yeah, it reached to that point because it was severe.
So for example, if you used to stay in Kisumu and you need to get your products from Kericho County, you could not cross because oh my god.
If you source your products from Kericho County, you're selling them in Nairobi. That's how your business growth goes. But on the other hand, I think the social media parts of those who are in social media, the influencers, they really gained so much during COVID-19, because we could just stay at home. The only thing you have for entertainment is TV,
TikTok,
and your phone.
social media,
TikTok
and I
also
think
grew
TikTok
during that time.
Exactly, and everybody and anybody who maybe have seen this or is watching this live and had an impact of trying to use social media that maybe boosted them in that period. Please share with us your experience. And so we can see that COVID-19 really affected our food security. There was food shortage, there was health issues. You had to wash your hands, put on masks.
I still have that thing of washing my hands and putting on masks.
Exactly.
I didn't know that I could walk with masks comfortably, because when I started, I used to choke.
True.
Yeah.
But now funny, one thing is so funny with Africa. I don't know if it's just Africans or Kenyans. I think we just have a problem. When this was put into action, they were like, how can you wear masks? We are not sick. Oh, this, oh, that.
I need to kutafuta negative effects.
Exactly.
How we are swallowing carbon dioxide that we should be letting out.
It didn't really make a lot of sense. But now you're being told to just go around without your masks. Now you are complaining.
We are kwanza this time where it's cold in Kajiado. We have to walk with masks and wear layers and layers. Are you feeling cold?
No.
You're not feeling cold? Then are you cold blooded? Because I have like 3 layers of sweater.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
I'm not
But-
used to this cold.
Yeah, true. Anyway, that was that about COVID-19, and we can also see that food insecurity has also led to increase in so many diseases like cholera,
Yeah.
and cholera is one of the most dangerous diseases caused by food insecurity.
Yeah.
And most people that are being affected are children. You find
Because of the
that,
contamination of food.
and the older people.
Yeah.
The older people, because of their immune system. So it's not something that is really pleasing, and we are trying to look at ways to deal with that will help us deal with food insecurity.
I just say that when you buy food or when you're going to source for food, remember to clean it very well.
True.
Separate if need be. Cook to the right amount of temperature. If you need refrigeration, just refrigerate your food.
Exactly.
To the correct degrees Celsius or degrees centigrade. That one for the fridge.
True. And we also have different sectors that the different sectors that deal with food security, like for example the KEBS. KEBS and maybe KEFIS.
KEBS,
which deals with the seeds and fertilizers. KEBS, which also helps looking at the standard of maybe the food and the nutrition, the level of nutrition, and they also help so much in looking into the health issues that are brought by food insecurity. And I hope people are going to adapt a lot of the positive side of food security.
Because there's a time I wanted to start this business, that business of selling, of making juice from fruits. I was told that I need that health pass. From the people from health. How are they called? KEBS first. That's one, and then the municipal. And then the municipal. Okay, I'm not sure.
I was thinking of the NEMA people.
The NEMA people are not for the environment. Is what?
Is it the national environment?
I think NEMA is for environment.
Environment. Okay.
But I had to. There was so many protocols to be observed that if you want to venture into food business or business that just deals with something that people ingest in their bodies, those are some of the protocols you need to research about. Because I didn't research. I just set up my place. Then a friend came and told me, "Have you done this and this?" I just told her, "No, I didn't." But akaniambia, if they come here, you will be arrested because you don't have that license. So I think lack of awareness also
may lead to food insecurity, because for example what that friend of yours maybe told you, they told you that you'll be arrested. You didn't really know about it.
I didn't really know about
it. And today we are really creating awareness on how you can deal with food insecurity, and learn the right procedures to know while maybe starting a business that will cost somebody's health, and ensuring that you also keep yourself okay and live a healthy life by eating well and
healthy.
Exactly. And from we can see that in 2007, the post-election violence, there was displacement of people from different places, and we really had food shortage. Properties were destroyed. People moved from this place to that place. I remember back then we were so mixed. We had Luos living with Kikuyus together with Kambas.
And it wasn't even, okay, from my view right now, back then I think I was in class 4. I didn't really know what was going on so much. I think my parents knew it. But in my view now, we weren't fighting for Kenya. We were fighting each other.
We were fighting each other.
Because it was just a fight between this tribe and this tribe. So,
it wasn't something good. Because we find that people were being displaced without so much.
I remember during that period of time, my mother was one of the, how do we call them, those people who work for it was ECK. Electoral Commission of Kenya. Back then. So we were in the house, then chaos started. They were coming for my mom because she worked in the ECK. I don't know what they were. I don't know if they were the return. I don't know how they are called because have you ever tried to register for the?
Not really.
Yeah, so maybe if you worked for them, you just tell us who they are. But they came at our gate. They wanted to take my mom because now my mom is the one. They say that our people are the ones who made those people win the election.
God.
So they wanted to take her. I don't know what they wanted to do with her. And during that period of time, I remember we were young, but we used to eat rice every day because that's the only thing we had in the house. We couldn't leave the house. Our mom was at rate. Ungeonekana nje, wewe ndio unaweza chukuliwa waende na wewe.
Yeah, it's the Election Commission of Kenya was headed by Samuel Kizito, right?
Yeah, that one. Yeah, so it was a tough time, but I'm glad we all survived. None of us got injured, and we are very sorry for those who lost their loved ones during that period of time.
May their soul rest in peace. And we really hope that peace will prevail and we don't go back to whatever we experienced, because it was something that was so unbearable. And even as we look at it takes me to the Rwandan genocide. Yeah, it was around 1990, if I'm not wrong. 1990, 1989 there. Yeah, where people were slaughtered. I think it was just like our post-election.
I've watched a movie about it.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah.
Very sad. Funny enough, it was acted in South Africa.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah, it can't be done in that country because of the experience now.
Yeah, no, it will take them back.
Yeah.
And they've gone for so long.
And so you can imagine that there is an age bracket that is not there in Rwanda right now.
Why?
Because most of them were killed.
The older ones?
Not really. They are the older ones, and maybe some of the youths in between.
Oh, so not so many of them. And can I ask you something? People haven't reproduced.
Okay, they have, but now you find that maybe from between 18, those may be born in 19, for example, if it was in 1989, between 1989 and maybe 1994. Are not there. Yeah.
We should avoid chaos at all costs.
Yeah. It was very sad because they had to move from nothing to something, and it was because of the indifference, or the tribal indifference, whereby you find that we want this tribe to lead us, and we don't want this tribe to lead us. And I hope that Kenyans, we vote wisely and we look at the bigger picture, because in as much as we are looking at the tribe, the ethnicity, in an ethnic perspective, we are not going to get too far. Instead, we are the ones going to lose.
And does tribal indifferences affect food insecurity?
Of course it can, because the tribal indifferences, the ethnicity that's going on in Kenya. Actually, in Africa, we have a lot of ethnic-based violence or whatever.
Yeah, because I think
so
because
much.
we are Africans.
Exactly. And it's not really good. Yeah. Because if we have the indifferences or the differences among us, it leads to war.
Yeah, and I also think in this perspective, for example, you find Aluo likes fish, and for example, a Kikuyu who likes viazi, waru, what is it called? Irish potato. Sorry. So if Aluo takes his fish to central Kenya and sells it there, I don't think that so many people will buy it because they are not used to it. Just a few are used to it. The same happens when when someone from central Kenya takes their products to Luo Nyanza or somewhere just where Luos are. I think maybe if you are watching and you've tested that dynamic, you can just tell us how it has gone for you. How did you find it? How was that business that you are selling something that people are not used to at a place where something different is being sold, or people are used to eating something different? I think that also plays when it comes to cultural indifferences in food security and all.
Yeah, and even as we continue, food security is built up with like three components: availability, accessibility. We have utilization. Yeah.
So availability
and
is,
sustainability.
yeah, that's just the availability of
How
food.
available
Let me
is
use the
the
word
food.
to explain the word.
Exactly.
Yeah. Vile chakula inaweza patikana.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How is the food available?
Yeah. She has translated. Yeah. Yeah. And accessibility, can we get it?
Yeah.
Can we
How
find it?
easily can we access
Hey,
it?
how easily can we access
Yeah.
it?
You find
Yeah.
that it can be there, but can you access it?
Mm.
Because maybe it's expensive,
Mm.
or maybe it's not healthy. It's
Yeah,
available, but it's not healthy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also have sustainability. In sustainability, this is where we look at how it can, how long
How
can
long
it
will it
sustain us.
sustain you?
Yeah, it's still explaining.
Yeah, the word is
itself.
still explaining itself.
Exactly. So how long can it sustain us, and is it enough to sustain us? Yeah. And if maybe it's available and we cannot access it, then it means it cannot sustain us. And if it is we want to access it, but it is not available, it also can't sustain us. Yeah. And how are we utilizing the food that we have? Yes. And that is where you find that there is malnutrition. And under malnutrition, we don't just look at the undernutrition. We also have overnutrition, whereby undernutrition is whereby you get insufficient nutrients, and leads to such diseases.
Marasmus.
Exactly.
Is marasmus caused by food?
Yeah, marasmus. We have kwashiorkor. We have rickets.
Yeah.
Rickets.
Rickets is lack of vitamin D and
and we also have anemia. Lack of iron. And iron definitely comes from the food that we consume, whatever we consume.
Yeah, and there's a statistic that stated that 970 approximately 970,000 children aged from 0 to 59 months suffer from malnutrition because of, let's just put it in general, food insecurity.
Yeah, and you find that from this, maybe it's because of the climatic change that we are facing, like places like Turkana. In Turkana, they face a lot of drought.
Yeah.
And also when it rains, it floods, funny enough. Yeah, which is very, very sad.
And also, I think we should put into perspective, like, when we are talking about food insecurity in the arid and semi-arid lands, they should also be sensitized about, okay, we haven't refused that people should give birth, people should produce, but they should also be sensitized about family planning. Because I always see in the news, like, you find a person, yes, it's in their culture that if you are maybe a man, you need to have a certain number of children for you to be considered a man in the society. But now it comes to affect you when now you can't provide food for the children. The climatic conditions also can't allow you to plant something. Maybe you want to feed your kids, but I think the people in the social development sector should take it as an initiative to go and advise them, so that they can also create that awareness that there is something that can make you regulate how many kids you're going to bring forth, because also kids are innocent. They want food. They don't want to know where you're going to get the food. Them, they want food, and they must also grow healthy so that they can also help you get food when you are older, when you can't get the food. So I think the social development sector should consider that.
And even as we look at utilization, we are looking at how we are going to utilize the food, and how are we storing our food. It's just like, maybe for example, water. During the rainy seasons, we definitely have storage where we store our water. So it's just the same. How you keep your food. Is it stored properly? Is it taken
Under the right
exactly? Is it well taken care of? Exactly.
So I think that sums the food storage. the food storage part.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I was talking about malnutrition.
Yeah.
So we had undernutrition where you are talking about the deficiency diseases that are brought by food insecurity. Yeah, and malnutrition. And I was also saying that it's not only undernutrition, but there's also overnutrition. And when we talk of overnutrition, is whereby somebody consume a lot of energy from the food with a lot of energy extra.
Will you expound on that for me to understand better?
Okay, so definitely, in as much as we have people not getting enough food, we also have people overeating it.
They are getting so much food, let's say carbohydrates, proteins, and vitamins. Now they are focusing maybe on protein alone.
Exactly.
And they are eating so much of proteins. They don't consider these other.
Yeah.
So that is where now obesity and
exactly.
Oh, nice.
We find obesity, we find cancer coming in. Yeah, we find what do you say? There's this disease that come on.
It's caused by overfeeding.
Not really.
Then I can't get.
Okay, it's okay. Diabetes.
Oh, diabetes. Exactly. Too much sugar or salt. Actually, that reminds me. There's a time, I think in high school, we were taught that diabetes cannot only it's not only caused by sugar. Salt can also cause diabetes. There's diabetes mellitus and there's diabetes insipidus.
Yeah. By the way, I think I'm starting to recall. Yeah, it was also back in high school.
Yeah. So just some knowledge here and there.
True. And what was I talking about again?
Overnutrition.
Yeah. So it's not only undernutrition, but also a lot of consumption of one type of food that has a lot of maybe energy can also affect your life health wise. Yeah, that is like putting yourself in danger again. Yeah, so
we should just consider a balanced diet.
Yeah. And often problems are tied to issues of poverty, the food security, poverty, inequality, and marginalization. And when we look at inequality, we look at maybe the distribution of funds. Or maybe in distribution of food. That is where again ethnicity comes in. You find that maybe this region has been given more than this other region because their leaders are the leaders that we have are from this and this tribe. You see, and maybe the what? Can you say It's gone again.
The word is gone.
Yeah. But that's just about it.
But I always feel like when it comes to inequalities, we can also say that an individual, let me put myself as an example, and let me use you as my child. You know, I can't feed you from an empty cup. Something like that. So let's say I have a mass of people to feed, yet you are my child and you are dying hungry. I have to feed you first.
True.
Before I feed the rest. Yeah. Although even if maybe I will not feed myself, but I will put the others. Yeah. Because if you are a leader, actually I think it plays differently if you're a leader because we are the ones who elected you. So we expect that from you. We expect you to bring us resources. We expect you to create opportunities for us, right?
Yeah, that is very true. And I think if that can be adapted, it can be really good. And we find that a lot of people are coming in as refugees in our country. That is from countries that are experiencing election issues, maybe post-election violence. So there's displacement of people, like for example the Sudan, the Somali. Somali is due to the violence also from their place. So they are also in our country, and at least there's a way that we try to accommodate them. And there was a time we were having a conversation with a certain friend of mine, and we were like, if our country can help accommodate other people from other country, it means that it can also feed our own.
Yeah, we
And
can afford to feed the
exactly.
entire
And
nation.
by the way, if you look at the opportunities that are in Kenya, like right now,
because we are a very generous country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You find that there are these opportunities, like maybe scholarship or whatever. They always first consider the refugees, and most of them always are from outside.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Tell us what you think. Do you think that our country is giving more opportunity to the refugees from out of the country, from different countries, and leaving out our own people? What do you think about that?
Oh, because there's a time I also it was in news, like people were dying of hunger in Turkana, and in the news we were exporting maize.
So you can imagine that.
Yeah. So tuna nini,
It's
we
a
care
lot of irony.
more, or we want what is it called? We want to be given, what is it called? The money from other countries. What is it? Income. Generate export income. I don't think that's the one, but I think it makes sense.
Anyway, it's so interesting to continue with this discussion, and we would just like to take a short break, and we will get right back to you. Stay tuned.
Have you felt that the climate has been changing? Perhaps the dry season seems hotter. The rains are too late, or too early, too little, or don't come at all.
You're seeing more pests and diseases on your shamba. All of these can lead to less yields.
By managing your water and soil, you can ensure that your shamba is still productive. This could be as simple as harvesting water from your roofs, investing in solar irrigation, and practicing conservation agriculture such as mulching, crop rotation, and minimum tillage.
Trees are also a part of smart farming and can help you make your farm cooler, keep your soils intact and healthy. Planting fodder crops and turning grasses into hay or silage is another smart way of adapting.
But be aware that even with smart farming, some things will remain out of your control. That's why it's a good idea to think about insurance, as this can cover you from these unforeseen events.
Good soil and water management, along with planting trees and pest and disease control, can also help you increase your yields and income as the climate changes. Agroforestry is where you plant trees with crops or on the same land as rearing livestock. This system is climate smart in itself. It helps to conserve soil and water. It makes soils more fertile and can provide food and shade for your livestock. It's also a good way to make extra income from selling wood and timber. Here are some examples of crops, trees and livestock in agroforestry systems. Food crops: pigeon peas, sweet potatoes, green grams. Pastures: Napier and Bracharia. Fruit trees: citrus and pawpaws. Wood trees: eucalyptus, gravelia and neem. Livestock: cattle, sheep and goats. If you're interested in starting agroforestry on your shamba, ask your extension agent for advice or get in touch with iShamba. Conservation agriculture is a way of farming that keeps nutrients and moisture in your soil. It's also a good way of controlling pests and diseases. The three main principles are minimum tillage, mulching, and crop rotation. With minimum tillage, you only disturb the soil where you will be planting. You can do this with a reaper or using a djembe. The second principle is called mulching. This means that you cover your soil with leftover residues such as leaves or maize stovers. This protects your soil from the hot sun while holding moisture in the ground. The mulch material will break down and add nutrients to your soil. Crop rotation is the third principle. You shouldn't plant the same crop on the same piece of land year after year. Instead, rotate between different crop families each season. If you follow these simple principles, you can be certain of healthier soil and higher yields in the long run.
Soil is a farmer's most precious resource, key for growing good crops. But if you farm on slopes, then managing your soil can be a challenge. The rainwater can wash good soil off your hillside right down to the bottom of the hill. This washes your topsoil away. To stop soil erosion, make terraces on the hillside. Make a trench along the contour and throw soil on the upper side. The soil on the upper side slows the run of water and let it sink into the soil and stop soil being washed away. You can also plant trees or fodder crops such as napier grass along the contour. These will help hold your soil together on the hillside and protect your land from erosion. Losing out on your crops or livestock can be a huge problem. With changing weather, there will be more unexpected losses. Have you heard about agricultural insurance? By paying a small amount of money each month, you can get paid out for serious losses to your crop or livestock. It is more affordable than you think. For a dairy cow valued at 100,000 shillings, the cost of insurance is 3.5% of that value. So, 3,500 shillings. That's about 10 shillings per day, or 1.5 liters of milk a week. Here's how to get insured. Contact an insurance agent. Someone will come and assess the expected yields from your crops or value of your animals. The insurer will then give you a cost and plan for your insurance. You pay the premium. That's the amount you need to pay to be insured for 1 year. That's it.
4, 3, 2. Thank you for staying with us and welcome back to our channel. This is a Farmers Media where we connect, learn, and grow. And we were on something hot about food security and how malnutrition is not only about undernutrition, but there is also overnutrition, which we saw that we find people getting diseases such as obesity. We have cancer. We also have diabetes, which we learned that there is a diabetes mellitus and
diabetes insipidus.
At least we are going home with something new in mind, guys, and I hope you are also going home with something. Put that into note, and don't forget about that. So as we continue, the reason why we are looking at food security is not only to look at the negative side, but we are also trying to look at ways in which we can fight for food security, the solutions that we can find to help us push through the agenda of food security with the help of the KEBS, the KEFIs, and all those sectors, the legal frameworks that need to be used to help push the food security agenda. Anything you would like to add about?
Okay, I just want to talk about some factors that affect food security. We have supply side effects. Okay, there are some there's declining agricultural productivity, as we have said, because of drought. First of all, the high economic times, farmers can't afford fertilizers.
Exactly, and even before we go to fertilizers, nowadays seeds are very expensive.
The actual seeds first of all.
Exactly. So if we can't get seeds, how can we get fertilizers? Because we can't just use fertilizers to plant nothing. So the economic times are challenging, and the higher the products are going, the lower
they are being. They are the supply.
The payment.
Oh no, they have the demand.
No, we are not talking about the demand. I was just trying to you see, people are complaining that their salaries are still the same, but the prices of commodities and products are going very to another higher. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
So
increasing.
another factor I think affects food security is the one that we've been championing for, climate change.
Climate change,
Yeah, it affects in so many ways.
Yeah,
like there's
and
deforestation.
exactly, and
Yeah.
matters of climate is really something that we also need to fight for, because yesterday we talked about soil management, and from soil we saw that climate really affects soil, and from soil, if the soil can be affected, we won't get any land to cultivate or grow our crops, and if we can't grow our crops, there will be food inadequacy of food. We won't be able to get enough food or supply, or we won't be able to be sustained with food, because there will be food shortage. So we were trying to look at ways that we can also deal with these climatic issues. And remember, I told you that the climatic issues does not only mean drought, it also means that there's floods, anything that makes people uncomfortable climate wise.
And we also find there is a poor market and access to market.
Poor market and access to markets. True. You can imagine if maybe Kenya is growing like coffee, and we also have is it Ghana? Ghana is also good in coffee, right?
Coffee production.
Is it
Maybe
Ghana?
that we confirm with our viewers.
Okay. And maybe the market that we have, I don't know how to put this. I don't know.
Okay.
Like we are trying to look at how big is our market. How can it really sustain the both,
Yeah, and what does it take for you to get into the market?
Exactly,
Because we find that some of our farmers, we have produce. Our produce ends up rotting in the farm because there's nowhere we can take. We need all those legal framework so as to get in the market.
Sure.
So our produce ends up being spoiled in the farm because we just didn't find that gap to take them to the market.
True. And maybe we also have, I think we have also poor transportation, which is also led by poor infrastructure, where we have bad roads, and from bad roads you find that our maybe means of transport is being affected, and if the means of transport is being affected, how can you reach the market?
And also the location of your farm.
Exactly, location of your farm. Maybe your farm is so far away
from
that
the main
you
road,
cannot really access the main road easily. So there's a lot, and you also that I think that also brings in the matters of profit and investments. Because if we are looking at all that, you find that we are really limited.
Okay, we can now talk about the impact of technology adaptation on food security. We have food availability. The technological inventions, like people have created technological inventions that enhance food availability, because right now we can process so many food products. We can in the farms, let's say maize can be processed just in the farm to remove the maize. Is it maize cobs? The maize cobs, you can dry it easily. Those are some of the factors.
And that is a positive side, right?
That's a positive side. There is inputs for production. There is access to fertilizers right now. Those are also like technological inventions that have come.
And speaking of which, I just remembered a point. There was back in the other government. Remember that President Uhuru Kenyatta had subsidized the prices of commodities, and this one he did after maybe the commodity had been put into the market after it had been put into market for people to buy. But right now that our current president is subsidizing them from the main source of the commodities. What are the viewers take on this? Is the subsidy helping us or not? Whatever you think, please let us know from there.
And then now I can talk about the supply chain. Though that is also one of the positive things, because nowadays there is wireless mobile phones, there's apps where you can sell your produce, so it's making it easier for us to maintain, to have that food security, because farmers can now, you can just take an app, you can search for the app. Actually, I did a research back then, and I think they are around 19 apps that you can just call after. Even they can even take you through the logistics from when you farm, when you produce, and your target market. They will also search for you, but now you have to pay. It's not something that goes for free. So I guess those are the factors that I have, the technological factors that I have that are positively affecting food security. Our viewers, you can just add some for us in the comments.
Fighting for food security, and looking at fighting for food security, we have the ultimate goal of overcoming food insecurity. What should we put into consideration to help us deal with the food insecurity? That is health. We need to look at health. We need to look at the GMO. The genetically modified foods, and a lot needs to be put into consideration.
And maybe just to add on that, I think most of us, we farm for the money. We don't farm for personal growth or sustainability. So I think that we should find a way to reduce commercializing the product, because if we produced food for consumption, it will in turn reduce food insecurity, and a lot of us will be saved from the perks that comes with food insecurity. That's just to add on that.
True. That is very true. And even as we continue, I know that while fighting for food security, we also try to look out for people being affected with HIV and AIDS, and even those that are not able to access food, because remember, food security has 4 components governing it. That is access, availability, utilization, and sustainability. And if we can have all those 4, I think we are good to go. And we are looking at the changing of the world through food, and this requires maybe the long-term presence of healthy foods, healthy living. And I think when we talk of that, it will take us where we'll also discuss with you the importance of food security. So changing the world through food, which increases, just like I said, increasing health and changing lives. So it's just a lot being talked about when we are talking about food security.
Okay, so can you take us through
we also have the cultural acceptability, where some stakeholders also are cultural acceptability. See cultural acceptability as an important aspect to incorporate, and this recognizes the ways in which food contributes to the basic needs and well-being of individuals, households. So it all goes together.
We already spoken about the factors affecting food security, right? I think I just forgot one. There is underinvestment in rural infrastructure, and we find that in the rural areas, those are the major places where food production takes place, where our farms are, and they are the places that have also been neglected. Like, there is no investment in agricultural infrastructure in those areas, because we find that now when people find fallow land, they're just thinking of building houses. So that's one factor that affects food insecurity.
And I can see from the comment section we have Ouma Slaz Otieno saying it's very informative and educative. Thank you so much for tuning with us. And as you continue staying with us, because this is home for young farmers, for farmers to help them grow, and we are very grateful. Keep watching, because this is where we connect, learn, and grow. Yeah. Even as you continue, Stephanie, you're saying something.
I was talking about the underinvestment in rural infrastructure, where I say that when we look at right now, most people, when they find land that is just fallow, land that is just there, the first thing that comes in your mind, let me build a house for my kids.
Yeah.
But you don't think, because me, I know my stand now, I know that agriculture is the next big thing.
Exactly.
So that is
true.
what we should even take it as a passion and not a task. Yeah. So we should also create awareness in that.
Yeah, true. And even as we continue, we just looked at the components of food security, and now we are looking at the levels of food security, which we also looked into, where we had the individual level, the household, the regional, stroke national. And in national and regional, we looked at access, availability, are still under what we talked about, components. And household, we had health and sanitation. I think this tries to tell us how people live maybe in their houses. Like, you find that some people, I don't know, but have you ever met people who don't just care? They just dig into their foods without washing their hands. Yeah, the only thing they think of is their stomach, but they how fast they can get full, and don't remember that their health also matters. Yeah, so I don't know. I think this is where the household maybe, and sanitation, and also individual, where we have food consumption, the kind of food that you consume also matters a lot, and the health status of a person. That is now when we were talking at maybe people living with HIV and AIDS, and people living with these other diseases, like maybe diabetes. They are limited to a lot of foods. And we also have people suffering from H. pylori or ulcers, where they have wounds in their stomach, and this is caused by food insecurity, whereby contaminated. Now they can't take food with a lot of acidity in them.
You are limited. Your intake is limited.
Exactly.
Certain food.
True. You find that you are being told not to maybe take a tea with a lot of sugar, which also reminds me to something that we were just I think it was a pastor of ours when we went to church sometimes back some years ago. Not that I don't go to church, but once in a while. Now you see, so the pastor was saying close. Sorry?
You have to be close to...
close to God. Yeah, very important. Very, very important, my people. God first anyway, because without God, we won't be here. So remember to thank God. So as I was saying, and the pastor was like, you're trying to live a healthy life in a way that... today you're not taking tea with the sugar. Then when you get old, you are infected with diabetes, or you suffer from diabetes. Now you don't totally take sugar. So it's like you didn't really get to utilize what was there.
But I think let's put diabetes into perspective. If you want to avoid diabetes, most of us think that it's just the artificial sugar. But I think, okay, or our viewers, you can help us in this. Does taking too much sugary fruits cause diabetes? Stop looking at me like that. It's a genuine question.
Okay, I'm also shocked because I don't know, but most of these things that the things that you consume that cause more disease into that push for the diseases that we suffer from are the artificial
the processed
the processed
the
ones.
processed food.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they play the major role.
Yeah, because it's not just sugar. It has a lot of chemicals added to it, a lot of additives. Yeah, that really affect us health-wise. But when we talk of the natural ones, the from agriculture,
From banana.
where did you get that?
It just crossed my mind.
Wow. Yeah.
So are food insecurity and food scarcity the same thing? Can you say it's the same thing?
I wouldn't say it's the same thing, because when we talk of food scarcity, from just the word scarce, it means it's inadequate
in supply,
availability. Yeah, so unavailability of food, enough food, and we have food security, which generalizes, because remember, availability is also a component that pushes for the food security to be there, because if it's not there, that is scarcity, and if there is scarcity, we have food insecurity coming in.
Yeah, I didn't think of it that way.
Now you know.
Actually. Thank you.
Yeah, now you know. So it's a long chain. It's a long chain. Just think between availability, sustainability, utilization, and accessibility. Yeah.
And now, when we talk about poverty and food insecurity, can we say that food insecurity only affects people who are poor?
Not necessarily, but whatever it's trying to, whatever is being pushed, is that poverty has really led to that, because you find that most people who are suffering from experiencing poverty, let's say, cannot be able to access the proper food, poor health, because they cannot also afford to go for treatment. They cannot get treatment, but proper treatment and care, and we have sanitation.
And also,
so that is why by the way, it's not a joking matter when we talk of poverty affecting food security. It's something that is really, really bad, and it's raising a lot of concerns.
And also, food security is making us poor, is causing poverty.
Exactly. It's pulling us back, because if there's food insecurity, there's a lack of job opportunities. We have health is being affected. Our health is being, exactly. So without health, we cannot do anything. So it really, really matters a lot. So I think even as you continue to talk about this, agriculture really, really affects our lives, and it's like the center of everything.
Yeah, it's the core, because without food we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, true. It generates everything in us: money, job opportunities, food, and healthy living. Yeah. And even transport.
So we basically revolve around agriculture. And
yeah.
agriculture
and
revolves
I
around
think it's just agriculture and life goes together. Agriculture and life. Agriculture, life, wealth, transport, house, everything.
But there I see people who venture into agriculture, they really thrive. It seems like the agricultural sector, it has a lot of money. I don't know where to get a big farm I invest, because I also have ideas. I become someone. I learn extension, being an extension agricultural extension officer, so that I can also train people.
And by the way, let me tell you,
agriculture.
Today buying a land is very expensive.
Right now,
a piece of land is very expensive. And if you get somewhere that you can be given land at a throwaway price, just run for it, go get it, because it is really getting to another level. It's very expensive, but we thank God for where we've reached. And even as we continue, we know that we are learning and we are trying to grow, and we are connecting with you. Wherever you are watching us from, and we continue to urge you not to forget to check our social media handles in Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and soon we are moving into also Instagram. Yeah, not forgetting that. Yeah. So continuing, we have types of food insecurity can also be distinguished by their frequency or duration.
Pardon?
Types of food security can also be distinguished by their frequency or duration. Like it can also be distinguished by the duration.
The period of time that the food. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Food insecurity can also be distinguished by their frequency. How frequent?
Yeah.
It yeah.
I think that also draws us back to the point where we say availability, accessibility. So the frequency is like frequent. When you.
Okay, when it's available, it kind of reduces the food insecurity.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And remember that sometimes it can be available, but it is contaminated. Yeah.
So with that one, we should also check into.
Yeah, we should have that in mind. Yeah, in as much as we are looking at it that way, we also need to look at health-wise. That is, if it is there but it's not healthy, it's not something good. Yeah.
We should also try to introduce this nutrition, food security, because food security is a general topic. It also covers the nutrition aspect. So at a younger generation, when we are dealing with CBC, we should also incorporate teaching the younger generation about nutrition, about that one I know is taught about cleanliness, washing your hands. Actually, after COVID-19, 95% of us remain with that habit of washing our hands.
Exactly.
Like when you touch any surface, I know when I get from here, I will wash my hands.
Leave alone washing hands. Technically, me, personally, it's very hard for me to greet people with my hands, like shaking hands, because before you shake their hands, the first thing that comes to your mind, did you wash your hands?
Yeah. And the COVID is still here.
Exactly.
Let's remember.
Yeah, by the way, you might think that you're suffering from just common cold, but maybe you're suffering from COVID-19 or maybe coronavirus. Yeah. So the distinguished food insecurity can be distinguished by duration or frequency, where we have chronic food insecurity, transitory food insecurity, and seasonal food insecurity. And chronic is whereby it's a long term. Yeah, it's a long term and persistent condition of food insecurity. So it's like you find, like, for example, I talk of Turkana. Yeah, Turkana, you find that there's a longer period of drought. Whereby they suffer so much from malnutrition, from food insecurity. Now you say, so it's persistent. So we could that's chronic food insecurity because it is too much there, and we find that this is when it is unable to meet minimum food consumption requirements. Yeah, for extended periods of time. We also have transitory food insecurity. Yeah, transitory food insecurity is the short term and it's temporary. You find that, for example, it rains here, but after maybe 4 months, it doesn't rain for another 2 months. Yeah, so you find it's not too much. It transits from raining to not raining, from being productive to unproductive.
Yeah, and sometimes even if it's raining, it's now rain that destroys. Yeah. That also contributes to food insecurity in the sense that your farm can be flooded, people can be swept away by the flood.
Yeah. Anyway, in as much as we would like to continue, let's just take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Stay tuned.
Have you felt that the climate has been changing? Perhaps the dry season seems hotter. The rains are too late, or too early, too little, or don't come at all.
You're seeing more pests and diseases on your shamba. All of this can lead to less yields.
By managing your water and soil, you can ensure that your shamba is still productive. This could be as simple as harvesting water from your roofs, investing in solar irrigation, and practicing conservation agriculture such as mulching, crop rotation, and minimum tillage.
Trees are also a part of smart farming and can help you make your farm cooler, keep your soils intact and healthy. Planting fodder crops and turning grasses into hay or silage is another smart way of adapting.
But be aware that even with smart farming, some things will remain out of your control. That's why it's a good idea to think about insurance, as this can cover you from these unforeseen events.
Good soil and water management, along with planting trees and pest and disease control, can also help you increase your yields and income as the climate changes. Agroforestry is where you plant trees with crops or on the same land as rearing livestock. This system is climate smart in itself. It helps to conserve soil and water. It makes soils more fertile and can provide food and shade for your livestock. It's also a good way to make extra income from selling wood and timber. Here are some examples of crops, trees and livestock in agroforestry systems. Food crops: pigeon peas, sweet potatoes, green grams. Pastures: Napier and Bracharia. Fruit trees: citrus and pawpaws. Wood trees: eucalyptus, gravelia and neem. Livestock: cattle, sheep and goats. If you're interested in starting agroforestry on your shamba, ask your extension agent for advice or get in touch with iShamba. Conservation agriculture is a way of farming that keeps nutrients and moisture in soil. It's also a good way of controlling pests and diseases. The three main principles are minimum tillage, mulching, and crop rotation. With minimum tillage, you only disturb the soil where you will be planting. You can do this with a reaper or using a djembe. The second principle is called mulching. This means that you cover your soil with leftover residues such as leaves or maize stovers. This protects your soil from the hot sun while holding moisture in the ground. The mulch material will break down and add nutrients to your soil. Crop rotation is the third principle. You shouldn't plant the same crop on the same piece of land year after year. Instead, rotate between different crop families each season. If you follow these simple principles, you can be certain of healthier soil and higher yields in the long run.
Soil is a farmer's most precious resource, key for growing good crops. But if you farm on slopes, then managing your soil can be a challenge. The rainwater can wash good soil off your hillside right down to the bottom of the hill. This washes your topsoil away. To stop soil erosion, make terraces on the hillside. Make a trench along the contour and throw soil on the upper side. The soil on the upper side slows the run of water and let it sink into the soil and stop soil being washed away. You can also plant trees or fodder crops such as Napier grass along the contour. These will help hold your soil together on the hillside and protect your land from erosion.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Don't forget to check our social media handles, and even as we continue, know that our Farmers Media is here for you to help you connect with us, learn and grow, and that is our aim. And I know that from here you are going to make a big difference. If you are a young farmer, if you are somebody who maybe lost hope in farming, this is the right place for you to be. And if you are a farmer and trying to be an entrepreneur, I think this this is also going to be an opportunity for you to start exploring more into agriculture together with me, Stephanie. We are going to take you through a lot from here, so don't touch that dial. Yeah, so as I was saying, I was talking about transitory food insecurity, which is a temporary type of food insecurity, where you find that it happens due to maybe a drop in maybe access of food. There's less access in food, and that leads to that lack of getting enough food. And it affects health wise, and maybe for a healthy nutritional status, e.g. after maybe a period of a drought. Excuse me. After a period of a drought, or as a result of conflict. Like for example, what you are talking about, like maybe post-election violence. People moving in as refugees.
Intercommunity conflicts.
Exactly, intercommunity, interstate conflicts, such. So we also have seasonal food insecurity, and this condition is it's not so much, it's predictable, where you know that maybe this month there's going to be a lot of drought, but maybe in 2 months time it's going to rain.
But I find like right now, the climatic conditions have made it very difficult even for the weather forecasters to determine, because like you see right now, rain has failed us in the 5 seasons. So that point was about seasonal food security. Seasonal food security.
True.
So if we could just find a source that, okay, we should just have it in at the back of our minds, that okay, not all these factors that comes into play, because right now you can say that it's going to rain in Nairobi tomorrow, and tomorrow comes, God does his deed, it doesn't rain, hiyo nini jua inawaka sana. So I think that is also a factor that we should put into consideration, so that for example, if it's assured that it will rain and it rains, and you are not sure, because we've seen the pattern, we've seen that rain can fail for 5 consecutive seasons. So when the weather forecasters mention that it will rain and it rains, we should make sure we harvest rainwater. We put up those it's called paddy holes for storing water.
So, and also I have few questions for you viewers. And is there a period of time where you slept a whole day without eating, or is there a day whereby you could not get food or access it, maybe due to a displacement or conflict or lack of resources for getting the food, or maybe a type of climatic condition that if there is any of that, please share with us your experience. Yes, Stephanie.
Okay, you've completed the list. Okay, so I can just talk about the factors how Kenya can improve its food security situation. First of all, the government should provide agricultural inputs to farmers, because we find that many farmers in the rural areas, most of them, first of all, maybe they lack awareness on the right inputs to use during farming, the weather conditions, what is favorable for that time of that in that season. If rains fail, I know the actors in the agricultural sector will tell you now, focus on this. We had planned this, but now focus on this. So I think the government should just provide the farmers and those who are unable to access these inputs and equipment, things like fertilizers. We can also talk about livestock takeoff program, restocking and animal feeds. We should those takeoff programs, if I'm able to like define it in a layman's language, restocking an animal feed, like just giving the perfect feed for animals. For example, like it yesterday that we were discussing about fodder
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, fodder, hay.
Yeah.
Those the things that can improve the health of livestock, because a healthy
And their
livestock,
growth.
yeah,
Exactly.
the dairy milk will be sufficient. And we can also talk about provision of water tanks. I think that's summed up in the harvesting of water. So they should just focus on providing water tanks for the people who cannot be able to afford them. Yeah, because we find that actually in the rural areas is the most part where farming takes place.
Yeah, true.
And we find that most of them can't afford these big water tanks for storing their water. We can also purchase and distribution of relief foods. Then provision of nutrition and health packages.
Yeah, and before you even go to provision of health packages, while talking of distribution, let us consider everybody. And if equality is done, then I think everybody can live happily and in unity. Peace always.
Then we can also provide cash transfers to the
Sorry, you're saying something about healthy packaging?
Oh, yeah. I was talking about provision of health and nutrition packages.
Oh, yeah. Health and nutrition packages.
Oh, okay. I don't know how I can round up that into an explanation. We can talk about health and nutrition packages, teaching people about health, the foods that can help you.
Yeah.
Nutrition, balanced diet, what you
being
should
equipped with the kind of
knowledge,
maybe food that you're supposed to eat, and the type of maybe fertilizers or seeds that are have been approved to be used to avoid food insecurity.
And we can also talk about cash transfers to the vulnerable. The people who are suffering, the ones that are displaced now, the ones who can't.
And remember, even the older people are vulnerable.
Oh,
so they also suffer
that's
from that.
interesting.
Because they don't have the strength to maybe go to work.
Oh, they really. I always see relief funds for the elderly.
Exactly.
So it shouldn't. So that sums it. I sum it at that. We can talk about just a moment.
So it's so much, and from climatic change to COVID-19 effect on food security, we have poverty and food security, and we've seen how poverty really affects food security, because poverty limits people from accessing food, utilizing food, or maybe obtaining food that maybe causes hinders our healthy living, and so on and on. And we are even looking at ways of changing the world through food security, and this is looking at the long-term presence of food security, because if it's the long term, it's going to promote healthy living and better living, and changes our lives. That is according to maybe job opportunity, generating income, and moving forward, and on and on and on. And we've looked at malnutrition levels of the of food security. We have components and what to look into when it comes to food security. Yes, you have something.
But I think this is just a general discussion of the factors that contribute to food security, that we just say there's scarcity, there's climate change, there's technological barriers, there's inadequate supply of water for irrigation. Again, I insist, if it rains, we harvest rainwater.
Exactly. And by the way, it's always very, very important to use whatever we have at that moment. Take advantage of maybe the rainy seasons by storing water and using water sparingly, because storing will help us not have a shortage of water maybe in the future. You can continue.
The two main types of food security. There is low food security and there is very low food security. The low food security, we can just do a little bit of research about it.
Yes, so even as we continue, we look at food security as just not just food security alone, but it is a symptom of access, availability, utilization, and secure environment, which are often problems tied to issues of poverty. Still poverty again, inequality, and marginalization. And moving on and on, we've also looked at factors that have led to food insecurity, where we have post-election violence, we have COVID-19, we have displacement of people, political indifference, and so on and on.
Climatic
Yeah,
influence.
more importantly. And that is why we are here to help you deal with this climate in a smart way and work through our fears. Yeah.
There is high food security, which it encompasses no reported indication of food access or problems or limitations. That's food security, not food insecurity. Sorry. And there is marginal food security, which is typically of anxiety over food sufficiency or shortage of food in the house. Yeah. Then now we go to food insecurity. The low food insecurity reports of reduced quality of food. That's now where we find a variety of or desirability of diet. Yeah. And there's very low food security. That's now where the effects. Let's talk about the drought-stricken areas. The malnutrition gets in. People start dying because of hunger. Animals start dying because of hunger. Now that
deficiency diseases.
Yeah. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, true. There is also a situation analysis where we have the International Food Safety Framework. Those are the legal frameworks where we have Kenya food safety policies, and we also have food laws and regulations. And as we continue, we also have the Food, Drug and Chemical Substances Act, CAP 254, which the Parliament enacted in 1965. And this one was to make provision for the prevention of adulteration of food, drugs, and chemical substance. We also have the Dairy Industry Act, CAP 336. And I think from just looking at the way it's written, the dairy industry, it talks about milk. Right? And licensing of milk handling and how healthily you can milk.
And milk is so delicate. Actually,
very delicate.
If you don't handle it with care and following those regulations that are put into place, you can easily spoil a whole lot of milk.
Exactly. And when looking into milk, they are looking at the quality. The quality of the milk and how healthy is the milk, and is it really good for consumption. And even as we continue, we have the Fishery Management and Development Act, which deals with I think aquatic. An act of Parliament also provided for the conservation, management, and development of fisheries and other aquatic resources, just as I said. And we have the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Services, Pest Control Products Act. And I think this is in the Pest Control Act is where you find they are looking at maybe the kind of pesticides that are supposed to be used. In order to not use a kind of maybe pesticide that may affect
the crops negatively.
Negatively, or the people consuming it. We also have the Meat Control Act CAP. The Meat Control, I think tends to look so much into livestock, the meat that we consume, if it's healthy for consumption. And here it states that it's exercised over meat and meat products intended for human consumption and over slaughterhouses. You find that there are some slaughterhouses that are normally being closed down because of maybe health issues. They don't really look so much into health matters. We also have Animal Disease Act. We have Biosafety Health Act, and in Health Act requires an establishment of the national health system. We also have public health, and when we talk of public health, we are looking at our environment in general.
Yeah.
And looking at our environment in general, we have it to make provision for securing and maintaining health. It provides a broad scope on public health, and in food safety, the Act creates subsidiary legislation. There's so much. You have food safety institutional frameworks.
We can just go through them. So that
Agriculture and Food Authority. We have Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate. We have Pest Control Products Board. We have Directorate of Veterinary. Veterinary. We have Directorate of Livestock Production, and so on and on. Still looking at fisheries, the Bureau Standard, the KEBS that we talked about, which intends to look at the standard of products that are going into the market. Is it safe for the people, or is it something that is going to cause maybe health issues?
We can look at are they done? But they are so much.
There are so much, but they are just repeating themselves, most of them.
Because they are just policies. So food safety institutional framework. These are several institutions and agencies involved in food safety and control systems. So we can just I can just brush through them, because these ones we are doing research as we go. Each agency operates independently to fulfill its mandate as provided by the law establishing it. There is ministry responsible for agriculture, and there is State Department of Crops Development and Agricultural Research. We have Agriculture and Food Authority. I think this one majorly deals with the regulations that are put into place.
True.
For production, for even access to markets. So the Crops Act 2013 mandates Agriculture and Food Authority to establish and enforce standards in grading, sampling and inspection, test and analysis, specifications, units of measurement, code of practice, and packaging, preservation, conservation and transportation of crops to ensure health and proper tackling. So that's basically sums up the agriculture and food availability. And as we continue, we can just go to Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service. This is the KEFIS, the one you were talking about that time.
True.
Its responsibility is to ensure the quality of agricultural inputs and produce. To prevent adverse impact on the economy. Actually, I'm now getting it like you are explaining it well. And there is Pest Control Products Board. That's for the pests. Actually, these things are just repeating themselves.
Of course, I told you they're just a repeat of what we just talked about.
So I guess we can go to Kenya Bureau of Standards.
That's the KEBS again. The KEBS, right?
The KEBS again. The KFS, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. There is National Biosafety Authority.
And we also have the policy goal and objectives, where we have the vision, the mission, and the policy goal. And the vision is to ensure a healthy population and that can acquire healthy living from eating the food that has been approved to be eaten. And we also have mission, which provides safe food from production to consumption. That is where we find the KEFIS. Whereby it tends to look at the agricultural agricultural inputs, the agricultural inputs and everything that is concerned with it. And even we have the objectives that are there from the policies and from the sectors, the frameworks that are looking at issues concerning food security, and they are to align existing food safety policy and legal frameworks with current food safety. And they are also to develop a food control system that is grounded on a risk-based approach. And this will, I think, this will also lead to at least a reduced number of deaths concerning food poisoning or food insecurity. Yeah, we also have to strengthen human resource development and research in food safety. Yeah, it gives a platform for scientists to come in and do research on the right food that people should consume, the kind of living people, the kind of life people should be living, and a lot, yeah. And we also have promote institutionalization of food safety in Kenya's education curriculum. Yeah, even in our education system, they're trying to promote the sensitization and creating awareness. Yeah, because it's something that people need to know. Even our young generation that are coming outside. Yeah, outside from school, they need to know so much about food security and everything that needs to be known from age, and it's also enhanced institutional capacity. Yeah, for food safety risk analysis. We also have proposed funding mechanism for food safety. Yeah, sometimes I think they just give funds for just agriculture and maybe farmers, but they also forget to fund for the food safety mechanism for food safety. Yeah, and we also have to establish systems that mitigate re-emerging food safety challenges and environmental concerns. Like for example, maybe trying to create a system that will deal with you see, we had like chronic food security. We had not the contemporary the temporary maybe food security,
the temporary.
because we know that it comes from for a short period. It's predictable. Let's say something of the sort. It's predictable.
That one was temporary, seasonal.
Yeah, we had seasonal. Yeah, where it's temporary, and if it's temporary, we should get a system that will help deal with the re-emerging issues of maybe food insecurity.
The long-term measures.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The re-emerging and the emerging issues. Yeah. So like right now, when COVID-19 came, we didn't have the systems that could really deal with COVID, because we didn't know if there is cure or if there is not. Up to date, I don't know. I'm not even sure if there is cure for COVID-19.
I don't think.
Unless it's just vaccination.
Yeah.
But at least it's at least helping a little bit. And thanks to that, and back then we didn't have those systems. We didn't even have the vaccine, and it was really killing people. You see, yeah. So they are trying to like establish systems that can deal with the emerging and re-emerging issues concerning food insecurity, and to strengthen mechanisms for validation, inspection, certification. You know, whereby you remember you said a story about you not knowing of whatever legal frameworks that you are supposed to do. Yeah. So if maybe there's licensing or maybe certificate that you need for you to use to reduce the threat of food insecurity, then
Actually, this is an eye opener for me.
Oh yeah.
The discussion.
Yeah.
At least if I want to venture in the same business again, I'll put those factors into consideration.
Yeah, all of those should be put into consideration. And we also have to establish a national food safety communication mechanism among stakeholders. Yeah, there should be proper communication. That is why I talked of lack of awareness, because there's no proper means of communication. And that is why we are here for you, a Farmers Media. Once again, where you connect, learn, and grow. And from here, you are going to connect with us, learn with us, and grow with us. And you are not going to be facing challenges concerning either maize production, agroforestry, or be it livestock production, soil management, or food security issues, because we got you. Yeah. So we also have enhanced institutional capacity for food safety risk and analysis. Yeah. And we also have the guiding principles where we have stakeholders participation, clearly defined roles and responsibility of actors. So maybe, for example, if we create an organization that will be sensitizing people on matters concerning food security, everybody needs to be given roles. Like assigning stakeholders to participate, and we also have giving them roles, responsibilities. We also have farm to fork approach. We have inter-sector coordination and collaboration between lead agencies. We have risk-based approaches that may not put whatever we have into jeopardy or at risk. And we also have coherence with other policies, instrument, and other governance structure at national, region, and global level.
Have we spoken about food security, food safety financing? This is the funding for food safety. The funding for food safety is inadequate and not prioritized within the line ministries and stakeholders. We have here agencies to conduct resources to support the various operations in terms of lab services, human resource capacity, and management system to comply with the national and international policy. Efforts are also curtailed by the limited private sector participation in food safety financing. We find that it's not only the public parastatals that are championing for this food security. We want, like all of us, we just want to work hand in hand so as to promote this food security agenda, so that we can find that gap where we can feed the entire community. So that we can also reduce all these complaints that we get that some people are maybe lack food, some people are suffering, right?
Right, and I know that sharing is caring, and if you have more than enough and your neighbor is sleeping maybe hungry and you have what it takes to feed them, please share sparingly and ensure that nobody sleeps hungry. We work together and we connect together. And in as much as this is so interesting, I would like to, in as much as we would like to take it into another level, we've talked so much about food security, from components to climatic change to COVID-19 effects on food security to fighting for food security, malnutrition, levels of food security, and so on and on. And I am happy that I've managed to at least enlighten you about food security, and I also got to learn so much myself, and I am happy that I am walking home with a lot. And in as much as today is Sabasaba, I urge you to stay safe and take care of yourself. Tomorrow is another day. We need you, we love you. Take care of yourself. My name is Dochina Kinya, and I was your host. And keep watching Farmers Media, because this is where you connect, learn, and grow.
And my name is Stephanie Sharon Okayo. Thank you for staying with us. Not tomorrow. On Monday, we come back with another hot topic. Same time, same place on Farm Drive.
Keep it locked. Have a lovely evening.
Have you felt that the climate has been changing? Perhaps the dry season seems hotter. The rains are too late, or too early, too little, or don't come at all.
You're seeing more pests and diseases on your shamba. All of this can lead to less yields.
By managing your water and soil, you can ensure that your shamba is still productive. This could be as simple as harvesting water from your roofs, investing in solar irrigation, and practicing conservation agriculture such as mulching, crop rotation, and minimum tillage.
Trees are also a part of smart farming and can help you make your farm cooler, keep your soils intact and healthy. Planting fodder crops and turning grasses into hay or silage is another smart way of adapting.
But be aware that even with smart farming, some things will remain out of your control. That's why it's a good idea to think about insurance, as this can cover you from these unforeseen events.
Good soil and water management, along with planting trees and pest and disease control, can also help you increase your yields and income as the climate changes. Agroforestry is where you plant trees with crops or on the same land as rearing livestock. This system is climate smart in itself. It helps to conserve soil and water. It makes soils more fertile and can provide food and shade for your livestock. It's also a good way to make extra income from selling wood and timber. Here are some examples of crops, trees and livestock in agroforestry systems. Food crops: pigeon peas, sweet potatoes, green grams. Pastures: Napier and Bracharia. Fruit trees: citrus and pawpaws. Wood trees: eucalyptus, gravelia and neem. Livestock: cattle, sheep and goats. If you're interested in starting agroforestry on your shamba, ask your extension agent for advice or get in touch with iShamba. Conservation agriculture is a way of farming that keeps nutrients and moisture in your soil. It's also a good way of controlling pests and diseases. The three main principles are minimum tillage, mulching, and crop rotation. With minimum tillage, you only disturb the soil where you will be planting. You can do this with a reaper or using a djembe. The second principle is called mulching. This means that you cover your soil with leftover residues such as leaves or maize stovers. This protects your soil from the hot sun while holding moisture in the ground. The mulch material will break down and add nutrients to your soil. Crop rotation is the third principle. You shouldn't plant the same crop on the same piece of land year after year. Instead, rotate between different crop families each season. If you follow these simple principles, you can be certain of healthier soil and higher yields in the long run.
Soil is a farmer's most precious resource, key for growing good crops. But if you farm on slopes, then managing your soil can be a challenge. The rainwater can wash good soil off your hillside right down to the bottom of the hill. This washes your topsoil away. To stop soil erosion, make terraces on the hillside. Make a trench along the contour and throw soil on the upper side. The soil on the upper side slows the run of water and let it sink into the soil and stop soil being washed away. You can also plant trees or fodder crops such as Napier grass along the contour. These will help hold your soil together on the hillside and protect your land from erosion. Losing out on your crops or livestock can be a huge problem. With changing weather, there will be more unexpected losses. Have you heard about agricultural insurance? By paying a small amount of money each month, you can get paid out for serious losses to your crop or livestock. It is more affordable than you think. For a dairy cow valued at 100,000 shillings, the cost of insurance is 3.5% of that value. So, 3,500 shillings. That's about 10 shillings per day, or 1.5 liters of milk a week. Here's how to get insured. Contact an insurance agent. Someone will come and assess the expected yields from your crops or value of your animals. The insurer will then give you a cost and plan for your insurance. You pay the premium. That's the amount you need to pay to be insured for 1 year. That's it.